The New York Mets bolster their pitching staff by signing a free agent and trading for a reliever. Let's talk about these two players and what should the Mets do next with their offseason. Let's talk about it. And well, welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Watts2K99. Thank you as always for taking the time to watch these videos. If you're new, please hit the like button, really appreciate it. And if you're returning, please hit the like button as well. And definitely I want to get to 400 subscribers. That is my next goal. We want to get there by the end of December. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and share with a friend. Okay, let's get down to business. We're going to talk some New York Mets baseball right now. The Mets have signed Jose Quintana, left-handed starting pitcher, to a 2-year contract worth $26 million. I got to tell you, I love this move. I'm happy about this move. I did a video a while ago about why I did not want the Mets to pursue Carlosrodon. I felt it was too volatile with his injury history. I felt as good as he was last season, I felt that might be his career year, and he's apparently commanding about a $30 million a year market, 5 or 6 years. I felt it would have been insane for the Mets to commit to that number, especially with so many good, really good starting pitchers hitting the market in the next year or two. You know, Max Fried, Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burns, Luis Severino, Shane Bieber, Tyler Glasnow. There's a lot of good starting pitchers coming up, and I didn't want to give that many years and that much money to Rodon. Quintana I really liked. I'm going to tell you why. I did get a chance to watch him pitch quite a bit when I was living in Chicago. Pitched with the White Sox. That's where he started his career, then went on to the Cubs. Now, he is 34 years old. He is coming off a couple of rough years, okay, especially with the Cubs and the Angels. In fact, last year, Pittsburgh Pirates, who are basically the dregs of the baseball world, they signed him as a reclamation project. 1 year, $2 million. The entire intent of that signing was to eventually flip him to a contender at the trade deadline. And that's exactly what they did. They traded him to the St. Louis Cardinals. Now, up until the trade, let's see, Quintana had a 3.50 ERA. Very respectable, considering where it had been the last couple of years, much, much higher. But then with St. Louis, he took off. He had a 2.01 ERA in 62 innings pitched. He had 32 starts last year, pitched very well against Philadelphia in the first game of the National League Wild Card Series. You know, he's not going to strike out a lot of players, but he's also not going to walk a lot of guys too. He's got good control. And here's the stat I really like. He has the lowest home run rate per 9 innings in the major leagues last year. He allows 0.4 home runs per 9 innings. Love, love, love that stat. Now, the other thing that I like is that he does eat up innings. He not only makes his starts, but he's going to give you a good amount of length. Let's go through his career very quickly. In 2013, that was his first full year, really, 200 innings. 2014, 200 innings. 2015, 206. In 2016, 208. So that's 4 straight years of 200 innings or more. 2017 starts to go down a little bit, 188. In 2018, it was 174. 2019, he pitched 171. Then in 2020, he was limited with a thumb injury, and it was the COVID-shortened season, so we'll put that aside. 2021 wasn't as good, only 63 innings with the Angels, and 2022, he came back, pitched 165. All right, so last year was a bit of a comeback. So as far as what this means financially, the 2 years, $26 million, I think is a great contract. He's getting $5 million less a year than what the Phillies gave Taijuan Walker. And this leaves a lot of money still for a Kodaisenga in the rotation, for an outfielder like Brandonnimmo, like andrewbenitendi. So I think this is a very wise signing. And according to John Harper, the Mets are still very much in play to add Kodaisenga to this rotation. So you think about where this rotation could be. You got Justin Verlander at the top of the rotation with Max Scherzer, as good a 1-2 punch as you'll find in the game, really. Then behind that, right now, they have Quintana, Carlos Carrasco, and you could put in either David Peterson, Tyler McGill, Joey Lucchesi, and all of those would be fine options. But if you could add a Kodaisenga as well, So it'd be Verlander, Scherzer, Sengai, Carrasco, and now Quintana is your 5th starter? Whew, I'll go to war with that pitching rotation. I would take that rotation even over the one last year. That's how good I would potentially feel about it. Because Sengai has ace-level material, and if he's replacing Chris Bassett in the rotation, whew, that is a freaking stacked rotation. So let's talk about the second pitcher the Mets got today. It's Brooks Raley, left-handed relief pitcher from the Tampa Bay Rays. The Mets traded Keyshawn Askew for Brooks Raley. Apparently, his parents are big Jets fans. They combined Keyshawn Johnson and B.J. Askew, and that's how you get a Keyshawn Askew, I guess. But Mr. Raley is 34 years old, not a spring chicken by any means. He made his debut with the Chicago Cubs back in 2012. I don't even remember Brooks Raley with the Cubs back then. It was pretty mediocre. After 3 years, he went to Korea as a starting pitcher, and he pitched there for 5 years. So the Reds bring him back in 2019. Pitches a few games at the very end of the season when they're just looking for some warm bodies. They decided not to keep him. And the Houston Astros, that's an organization that's pretty well known for their ability to scout talent. They pick him up, make him a reliever. He pitches for 2 years, does very well. And then before the 2022 season, he becomes a free agent. And Tampa Bay, another organization that is well known for its ability to scout, they sign him to a 2-year, $10 million contract. So now that they have traded him to the Mets, so that he has 1 year left on his contract. Okay, and then after that, he has a $6.5 million option. It's a club option for 2024. So the Mets could keep him if he does well enough this season. Now, as far as his stats, by the way, last year with Houston, Raley pitched 53 innings, okay, over 60 appearances, had a 2.68 ERA. He held lefties, get this, he held lefties to a 155 batting average, and the OPS against lefties was .482. Translation, these guys don't get on base against Raley. Lefties struggle against him. So Matt Olson, Bryce Harper, when he comes back from Tommy John surgery, these guys are going to have to get used to the sight of Mr. Raley. And not only that, he struck out 61 batters in those 53 innings, 6 saves, 22 holds. He pitched 1 inning in the postseason against Cleveland, 1 inning, 2 strikeouts, 1 hit by pitch. So those are the stats on Brooks Raley. As far as his arsenal, well, he throws a slider. He's really best known for his slider. That's his main weapon, throws it 38% of the time. He's got a fastball, he throws 23% of the time. His cutter, 19%, changeup, 19%. So it's really the slider against lefties that's his main weapon. So now we take a look at where this bullpen is. So let's think about it. Now we know the Mets were going to be losing pretty much their entire bullpen outside of Drew Smith. They've already lost Joely Rodriguez, and they've replaced him now with Brooks Raley. Okay, but then some other free agents that they have, Trevor May, Adam Ottavino, Seth Lugo, Trevor Williams. Hopefully they can bring him back in a long relief role, but you know he might have an opportunity to start, and if he can, God bless him, he has every right to do that. But really the only, I would say, sure things in this bullpen right now are Edwin Diaz, obviously, Drew Smith, Brooks Raley, and I would say Alicia Hernandez, who they got in the trade from the Marlins. It's only 4 spots, and nowadays you really need 8, you know, and plus more depth down below. And so outside of that, who are we talking about? Jeff Brigham, John Curtis. They brought back Tommy Hunter and Sean Reed-Foley on minor league contracts, not major league deals. They got William Woods, who was a Brave pretty recently, Steven Nagasek, Bryce Montes de Oca, Yohan Lopez. Obviously, the Mets need to get some arms for the bullpen. So as far as what the Mets should be doing going forward, to me, the #1 priority the Mets should have right now is an outfielder. They need a table setter. Now, I do like the idea of maybe leading off Starling Marte, then hitting Jeff McNeil, then Francisco Lindor, then Pete Alonso. That's a very good 1 through 4, but I kind of like McNeil more of in that RBI spot. It's really a tough call because this team really needed depth behind Pete Alonso. So do you want to put McNeil back behind Alonso as protection? Maybe Francisco Alvarez or Brett Beatty is able to step up. You know, if you're desperate, you put Eduardo Escobar back behind Alonso, but I'd rather have him as a 6 or 7 hitter as opposed to a 5 hitter. So to me, for the outfield, I would like to they need a center fielder. because I think Marte's just fine in right field. But if they can't keep Brandonnimmo, then I would go after Andrew Benitendi, most recently of the Yankees. I like his on-base ability. He's really got all 5 tools. Had some up and downs in his career, but I've just always liked his talent. So if not Nimmo, then I would go Benitendi. That's number 1. Now, if they can get Kodaisenga in the starting rotation, great. At this point, I don't consider it to be a must, but if they could do it, that's excellent. But the bullpen is where they're eventually going to have to spend a little bit of time. I think they're going to need at least 3 more arms in this bullpen. And some of the names I would look at from the left side, Taylor Rogers, but definitely Andrew Chafin. I feel like there's those of us who are Mets fans, those of us who know Andrew Chafin, we've wanted this guy for about 3 years. Every trade deadline, every offseason, there's another rumor about Andrew Chafin being available. He has not yet been a Met, but I would like to see him come here. He's put up very good numbers for the Cubs and Tigers in recent years. I hope they can bring him in. And then on the right side, you know, look who's available. David Robertson, Archie Bradley, Chad Green, Michael Fulmer. You know, you could bring back Ottavino. You know, Seth Lugo and Trevor May, I don't think there's any chance that they come back, especially Lugo. Lugo is right now in talks with the Red Sox and the Padres. I think he wants an opportunity to start. And again, if he could do it, great. You know, he's been a good Met for a lot of years, but I think he wants to try something new at this point. So my priorities, again, outfield, starting pitcher, and depth in the bullpen. So those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts about the signing of Jose Quintana? Did you want another starter like a Carlosrodon? You know, and how do you feel about the trade for Brooks Raley? And who would you like to see the Mets try to acquire next? Is it bringing back Brandonnimmo? Is it bringing in a player from outside the organization? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you back here with more content from you know where? The Wicker Chair.